You introduced me to having emotional conversations. I think that was my that's like if we were in college, that's like a prerequisite class before like the intensive course.
Okay.
So like my prereq to emotional intelligence was the emotional conversations. I could have those. I think within these last couple of years, I'm taking the advanced course of like, now I have to like look at my emotions as not a thermostat, but a thermometer. So like I can like read a situation and like sense the emotions of it. Like just because my emotions are at play here don't mean I have to act on them, which is why they're not a thermostat. But it is a thermometer. Like, okay, well, emotions are telling me that I'm hurt. So I need to assess that. I need to look at that. I would usually push that to the back burner.
Right.
And now it seems like there's just like this, like the cup's full. So like now every
It
time
pours
something
out.
hits, like it's like
But you've bottled it
bigger.
in for so many
for
years, baby.
Almost decades.
Yeah.
Like almost decades.
Yeah.
And like some guys are better than me. Some guys are stronger than me. You know, men will go their whole life in that stoic position.
I would delete that sentence. I wouldn't say better than or stronger than. Like, to me personally, a man that can tap into those emotions, that can allow himself to feel hurt and be vulnerable and be able to vocalize it, that is strength. Because it's completely opposite of what you guys have been trained to be like. But also you got to think like being able to unlock that glitch, so to speak, in the upbringing of not being able to like articulate or feel, have emotional intelligence and stuff. Imagine the chain that you're breaking so that your sons can do better. Ultimately, there's been this ongoing issue of like us women, we can be so expressive, we're very emotional, so to speak, like, and we also are given the space and outlets to be able to communicate our feelings to other women or whatever, and it's not looked at like, what's wrong with sis? But you as men, it's rare to find safe spaces for you to be vulnerable with your guys, whether it be about manhood, husbandhood, fatherhood, childhood trauma. Like, so there is strength in what you're currently going through.
Yeah, there is.
So please don't dilute that.
There is.
Yeah.
But I do want a healthier balance.
Yes.
Because I feel like right now, I'm getting out of it. Like, I think I've had my wet season.
The what season?
The wet season.
The what season?
I think I had the wet season. I think that's kind of like out the gate. But like, there was a lot of things that if I was in my younger years, I'd have looked like, you're not supposed to be crying over this. And even now in hindsight, there's some situations like, yeah, I like just broke down. And it wasn't even that moment that broke me down. It was really that like...
It's a multitude of things.
Yeah, I'm just like overflowing with depression or like just sadness. And I'm getting out of that. Like a lot of moments that like maybe even like a couple months ago would have tripped me up. I'm looking at them and I'm just breathing through them. Like I'm going back and relying on scripture again. Like I'm getting back on my word. I'm trusting in the Lord. I'm taking the hills and valleys as just trials.
Yes.
Like these are just here to perfect me. Like my perspective has shifted because I think for a long time I was looking at my shortcomings as badges of dishonor that I had to wear. Therapy helps. My therapist said that is a terrible way of looking at your past mistakes. They're lessons. That's it. They're not a testament to your character. It's only a testament to your character if you allow it to be a testament to your character and like you stay in it. But as I learned, I pulled myself out of those things, and now I look at those moments as like learning points or turning points in my life, not necessarily like things that have like are gonna follow me and curse me for the rest of my life.
Yeah. And that's year 2. He mentioned that he sprinkled the therapy thing in there. That's not even year 1.
Oh, snap.
Right? Like we're hopping out a little bit.
Yeah,
we're hopping a little bit of different places. But let me just check this bullet point list to make sure that we hit the things we really wanted to hit.
Cover everything.
Would you say can you see the one I just check marked?
Nope.
Okay. It's the Josh's season of. Did you talk about that?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't. Okay, this was something that was big for me. The top of 2023, So this is before the fashion show, before the pop-up pop-out, before the billboard and all that we were talking about. So backtrack a little bit. I had attended my first women empowerment brunches. I've never been to any before. And they were so humbling and eye-opening for me. One of them in particular was ran by this Black women in marketing group that is super dope. They have different events around Chicago, and my makeup artist / friend was on the panel of like 5 or 6 different women. She was the makeup artist up there. There was like a fitness trainer, there was an influencer, content creator, and there were some other people too, entrepreneurs and whatnot. And it was interesting for me to be in an experience in an event where I was in the crowd instead of in front or on stage, so to speak. And I remember living at my edge, going into the event wow, Issy was mad cocky, bro. As I'm really thinking about where my mindset and mentality was over the last couple years as we've been getting to like present day, I felt like why am I not up there? Like, just that air. And then being able to be in this, like, the position of listening to people, other people's stories, like, it clicked for me that day. Like, wow. This it's interesting to be in an industry where you're constantly put on a pedestal, whether it be by the brands that pay you or the followers, supporters, longtime fans, that whatever. Because naturally, I think it starts to get into your head and your ego. It fuels that. And that's where that mentality came from of like, I should be up there. But then hearing the women's stories up there, and it didn't, and the interesting thing too is like, so much of it, and that's why I was trying to ask you in the car, what was that saying about like, it doesn't matter how many followers you have. Like, followers don't mean validity, or popularity doesn't mean that you're right about things. Like,
yeah, we have a habit in our society nowadays of equating large amount of followers with truth.
Yeah.
And it's not the case.
It's not the case.
More often than not, those people that are really at the top aren't the last people you want to follow in like a personal life.
Like, be friends with if you really, well, I don't know.
Delete
that. It's whoever.
Take it back.
You know.
But at the end of the day, like, don't just assume that someone's trustworthy or knowledgeable or like
kind
or any of that
yeah.
based off of their followers.
Yeah.
It's a persona on the internet, and then there's a persona in person.
Yes.
And like sometimes people get famous off of lies.
Yeah.
It's like, you just like, we can't equate those things together. You have to like establish what truth is and then judge their words based off of the truth that you already understand.
Yes.
Or do your research.
Right. So saying all that to say, the reason that thought came up is because in my mind, when I was at this event, this first women empowerment event, I was like, I know, like, I have this many followers. Why am I not up there? Type thing. Whereas the women that had, I can't air quote, they had less followers, but they had so much more knowledge to offer than I did. Like, when I tell you I was humbled during those 2 hours of listening to these women in particular, because God was so present in their story, like, and their awareness of his presence was so palpable. And I was just kind of starting I think I maybe was just getting into the Bible for real. And still, like, in my own, the battle of flesh and spirit, more leaning in flesh than spirit. And this is a really good example of that. But as I was hearing their stories and stuff, I took so many gems away from being a listener instead of the word isn't provider, but like, what word am I fishing for? Just instead of being the person up there, being a listener instead of
a speaker.
Sure. I wanted a better word, but yeah, we'll just go with that for now. That was like the click for me to start realizing, like, it doesn't matter what number, especially when you're coming to like measuring yourself in a room. So that's something too that has happened to me over the years. I've gone into different spaces and immediately, and Kelly Rowland actually did an interview not too long ago with some other women, and she was talking about a time where she was invited to some, like, I don't know if it was a Grammy party or some, one of those like big parties or whatever, and she found herself immediately measuring herself to everybody in the room. Like, I don't know if it meant like, does she have more money? Does she have more songs? Does she have more accolades? Whatever. But it's just the constant measurement that we do in the society. And that's what I did in that space. And that's what I also did YouTube Black, which I also pinpoint as like kind of my demise in a bit on this journey. And in this moment, it clicked for me like, you got to stop measuring. Mm-hmm. Everybody has something to offer in different ways. And honestly, after leaving that, I felt a bit ashamed because these are women that are like, this the other women empowerment event I went to where these women are like moms. They have 2-3 different like entrepreneurial businesses going on. They also have their own 9-to-5. They're a wife. Like they're carrying so many hats. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm not really doing shit compared to y'all. So there's so much that you can learn by just being silent and like listening to understand instead of listening to respond or thinking that you got it going on. When you put yourself too high,
you start losing out on good wisdom when you start feeling like you are the wisest person in the room.
Yeah.
And like that's probably the biggest lesson I know I've personally learned, especially in this entrepreneurial space. I used to think I knew it all up until getting into the entrepreneurial space. And then I realized I need to shut up and listen to like everything. Because that's truly how you gain the most wisdom.
Yeah.
Like you can't learn with your mouth open.
No, right? That part. So that summarizes that for me. That was a huge, like, humbling and awakening moment for me that I really, really needed in order to continue to progress to be the person that God destined for me to be and the reason he put me in this position. I definitely needed that lesson. There was something else I think that you had said that had happened year one. You had wanted to mention...
Lots of babies.
Okay, that was, and I think that's dang near.
I think that's it.
Almost the last thing. So our first year of marriage, so many babies were born.
I think we're almost at a dozen.
So you think so for real? Not a dozen. A lot.
7.
Okay, it's a lot. Friends, family, everybody came out with like, we're pregnant energy in 2023. And we, like, it was an interesting position for us to be in because we looked at each other. There was a moment where we were like, are we missing out on something? Like, are we supposed to be on this baby train too? You start having all these questions and the wants for your kids to grow up with your friends' kids or your family's kids and stuff like though your kids not getting quote unquote left behind. That was interesting. Yeah.
Y'all, we want babies. We just don't know when. Our when is not based on like a specific day. And I know there's going to be a bunch of people that probably have kids or some that don't even have kids. And they're going to be like, just go for it. You'll never be ready. We know that. We know that.
Yeah.
But there's still an inkling of like, no, we still have things that we want to get done.
Yes. And honestly, too, the things we like aspire, goals and stuff, because we also are aware, like the type of parents that we're gonna be so invested in our kids. Our life isn't gonna be our life anymore. Cool, we know that.
We get it.
But also, think about even the things that we're just unpacking with year one.
Yeah.
Could you imagine the thing? And y'all don't even know like everything, right? We're giving you spark notes of year one to like get your footing in this new space and chapter that we're in. I couldn't imagine bringing a kid into all of that and like your onset of depression, but us not even knowing that until now being in year 2. Like,
and that like, I don't know if you guys know this, but like, I probably don't even know. It might be a fact. It might not. But I've heard that your emotions sink into your DNA. Yeah. So if I was in that state, what kind of seed am I passing to you? Yeah. Like, I want to be in the best mental state.
Me too.
I want us to be in like the best place possible. Yeah. When we conceive, like when we have a child, because I want that child to be set up for greatness. Like every child that we have, I want us to be in a good mental space. Health, like,
and we weren't.
We weren't.
We weren't.
We were trying to get out the like, man. I was telling her my expression was I'm like treading water and it's past my mouth right under my nose. Like I'm just barely getting air off. But now I feel like I can swim. So
you
like,
feel like you're breathing.
Yeah.
You're swimming. Are you treading water?
I'm definitely treading water. Yeah. I don't know if I'm like Michael Phelpsing right now. Okay. But I'm definitely treading water.
Yeah, I feel that.
And that's good. That's good enough for me.
Yeah.
The Lord is good. I'm in the land of the
All
living.
the time.
I got my mind. I got every extremity about me still working. Like, those are blessings that we
Get
take
overlooked
for granted.
so much.
Real quick. The fact that you just have a chance to attack life today is a blessing in itself. It might not be the best hand dealt, but you have an opportunity and time.
You know, it's something else too, as you're saying that just made me think about the first year of marriage in particular. For me, it was a huge focus on being present in my real life. Like, because I've been doing this since 2016 and dedicating so much of my life is about online presence, or and realizing that I didn't know what should, like, the balance of what should just be for me and my husband, like, as we start this chapter together, and then what can be for the internet. Like, just trying to discern this space in the 20s has been so interesting, and finding myself, like, every time we went on a date night, feeling the, like, need, like, the necessity to whip out my phone and record because this is content. But it's like, but I'm not living my life, though.
Yeah.
I'm constantly, like, performing my life or sharing my life. And, like, it can be just such a hard, it's still something we actively are trying to figure out a comfortable and fair juggle with. But I can remember year one, too, that was something that I really tried to focus on, which is why I fell off of social media ever since we really got married. I've been there, but I haven't been there the way the OGs know I used to be there, or that we used to be there. But real life was and is happening to us. And that was a big thing, too, like, why we, at the time, felt like we were quitting YouTube, because it was just becoming too much to try to, like, give so much of ourselves, but also give to each other, but also enjoy the season of life that we were going to have and that we were in, of being engaged and being married. That was only going to happen one time.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm like, I personally am over running from destination to destination. I'm willing to take the Jesus approach and walk to every destination.
What do you mean by that?
Like, I think what we were doing when we were, and this is past year one, sorry y'all, as we were growing up, once we had got, like, that first taste of success, we went full sprint.
We sure did.
We were sprinting to it. Like, yo, we're going for it and we're not stopping. But we weren't, like, we didn't realize that we didn't have stamina. So, like, yeah, a crash out was definitely coming at some point.
Both of us, individually and collectively, we definitely crashed out.
But yeah, like,
yeah.
I think it's a mix of social media and a mix of, like, society that makes you feel like you have a minute amount of time. You need to get there right now or you'll never make it. There are people that are starting the best part of their career in their 50s. I'm perfectly okay with saying that the Lord is good today. The Lord has been good every day up until now.
Yeah.
There's no destination that I need to sprint to at all. I just need to maintain a good pace, walk hand in hand with my wife. We continue to put in work, good work, not busy work, but good work every day, and just continue to progress. But if you put too much pressure to sprint, you will tire out. Yeah. There will need to be some rest. There will need to be a fall off, because you're not pacing yourself. But I know I can walk long distances. I can't sprint long distances. But
I like that, baby.
I'm really willing to walk through this. And that's even with, like, YouTube, social media. Like, it's not like we got to post something every single day. Yeah. It's more like we post good things.
Good quality.
We'll take our time with it, but when it comes out, it's good.
Yeah.
And just be okay with it.
Yeah.
Just be okay with it. And the Lord will provide everything else.
Amen. The last thing I would say, year one, that was big was us moving. From our high rise into a new place and space that is more aligned with the season that we're in. Yeah. Although that was like a little bit painful, but it was like a selfish painful too, because we said we were only going to be there 2 years max.
We were there.
We had 2.5 years. We were blessed with 2.5 years to be there. Rent continued to climb every year, and honestly, we need to get out of there anyway. Again, because we said we would do 2 years max, but it was still just like, wow, our first like home together, which was also crazy that it's a high rise on the 61st floor in
Yeah.
Chicago. Like our 20s together, we have really rock starred this junk out.
Yeah.
And didn't even consider the financial, I don't even want to say like repercussions, but like
It is repercussions, though. I mean,
we still be surviving.
yeah,
Like,
the Lord provides every
Yeah,
time.
literally.
But it's like that wisdom that you have growing up where it's like, oh, I can see what could have been done with what we spent.
yeah. Ooh, we've blown a lot of money, y'all.
Yeah. And like, you know, that's some good wisdom to pass down to the next generation. Like, you know, sow some seeds first before you go crazy and eat all your crops. Go sow some seeds first. Luckily, we kind of did.
We did, yeah. Blessed
enough to be able to do it.
Blessed.
But yeah, I think that phase of that part of our lives was something that we'll hold on to forever. Like,
Absolutely.
worth the memory.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll never regret it, but if we really calculated,
We'll throw up.
We'll throw up. Yeah, we'll
We'll
probably pass out for real.
You talking about rent, wedding,
Badge
badge trip.
trips on trips on trips on trips. So many clothes.
Thank
so
God
many,
for grace.
Yeah, so just
Thank God for grace.
it's almost like it feels like as we're entering into this next chapter, it's not like trying to right but a little bit. It almost feels like kind of trying to right the wrongs that we've done in our 20s or the naiveness.
Yeah, but I also think it's coming. Like, I think now we're producing from a place of. We were producing from a place of purpose before, but I think like it's a refined purpose. It's a more mature purpose. It's like we're more focused on the mission than the outcome of the mission.
For sure. I agree
Like,
with that.
We're doing the mission for the mission's sake itself. Like,
Yeah.
we're trying to do the Lord's work, so we're trying to put ourselves in a position to not just be influential, but like really influence people
Be
to
impactful.
be better. Like,
yes.
like really empower people to take their relationship seriously, pour into one another, pour into the people that they care about.
Aspire to get married and like do life together, but also understand the reality of what that is. It's not the wedding. I feel like people focus so much on as being like the marriage because it's all glitz and glam and everything is great. It's so hilarious. I will never forget the day after we got married, or maybe it was 2 days after.
The day after that, it felt like a second robbery. I was like, hold on.
No, yeah, the day after you were like, oh, so this is marriage now. Like, now we're in it. This is day one. What is it? Because we were just in our apartment by ourselves, like, okay.
It's almost like you were expecting, like, fireworks to go off for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And you're like,
But you create the fireworks.
Yeah.
Which is why we're like, we're going to be newlywed. We'll be 10 years in this and still say we're newlyweds. Because you got to keep that same energy. This is the person that you're going to be dating for the rest of your life.
Yeah, might as well make it fun.
Yeah. So, I mean, with that, I think we've touched on a lot of year one. It might not have been everything, but it was like the big. And, okay, so let's finish with this, though. What would you rate year one? Scale 1 to 10.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right.
I'm going to need multiple scales. So, performance scale, I was at like a 4.
Okay.
Lessons scale, I think I was at like a 9.
Huh.
Because turmoil was at a 10. But like the turmoil plus the productivity created those lessons that like I think will establish my 30s beyond, our marriage beyond. Like I think all the lessons that happened in this first year, I think God did me a solid by like getting it all out real early. I was like, oh, let me just pack it all up good. One in the stomach real quick. Hopefully you get that spanking and you understand and learn. And like message received. I needed it. I needed it. I needed everything that happened to me in my 20s. I'm not telling myself anymore that like let me rephrase that. I'm hesitant to ask for what I deserve. Because Lord knows we're all flawed. So, like, I don't know what deserving what is deserving of me.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say I'm thankful for everything that's been provided. I'm grateful for all the lessons that have come along the way, and I will continue to learn from them and grow from them. So I give that year, if I'm weighing out all those averages, like a 7.
I was gonna say a 7.2. I'm a 7.8. I'm a 7.8.
Yeah, but depression sucks. So like, if it was just that, it'd be a low number. I ain't gonna cap to y'all. But I'm out. I'm not out. I'm coming out. I'm on the way out. And so like, as I shift my perspective, because if you asked me this question last year, it would have been a very low number. But if you're asking me now in hindsight that I'm looking at it, it's a better number because I have wisdom from what I've gone through. Mm-hmm. In the year, I'd have probably said like a 3.
Well, yeah, like
yeah, like that's how I was feeling. Like I was 3 creeping towards 2. Like, but now looking back, I'm like, oh wow, these were all valuable lessons. So 7, creeping towards 8.
Okay.
You said you were 7, 8.
Yeah, like year 1 of marriage, first year of marriage. Well, I'm kind of including everything that went on even individually, but I guess if I'm just looking at the marriage itself, it's still in the 7, 8 range. Because we still, regardless of like the storms, we still have been able to communicate with each other every step of the way.
Yeah. And I mean, the wedding is a part of this year, so like I gotta like
right,
bump my
like
score.
like the wedding was incredible. Like
I gotta bump the score for that.
yeah, it's hard to scale it. It is. It's
you
almost
gotta
unfair.
give me a scale of 1 to 1,000 or something, so I can make it more specific, like 709, 98, something. I don't know. Anyways, I think we're
we that was thorough.
That was thorough.
That was thorough.
That was thorough.
But if any of you guys are currently going through your year 1 of marriage, or finish your year 1, or just as open to sharing, please don't hesitate to share them in the comment section below, because you never know. Well, one, we could possibly grab something out of there that we could use. You just never know, even to what other people, how they can benefit from hearing your story and your testimony. So if you're open, please drop in the comment section below any I don't want to refer to it as tea, because tea comes from like a gossipy place, and it's not a matter of tea. Like, these are our real lives.
If you're open and willing to telling your story or sharing your story, please share it.
Yeah.
You never know what your story could do for someone else's. Mm-hmm. We all have tests. They turn into testimonies.
Yeah.
And you don't have a message unless you have a mess with some age. So
Okay. And two, again, just wanted to affirm the fact that we are trying to bring the realities of marriage into the conversation more. Not just like the glitz and glam and everything that's great. Yeah. Like, what's some hardships that you may have had? And maybe it's not even a matter of sharing it in the comment section. Maybe it's a matter of talking to your actual partner if you guys did not take the time to unpack your year 1 of marriage.
Unpack
and stuff, right? Like,
hash it out. What'd you learn?
This is the encouragement to unpack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's all we got.
Yeah.
And we love you guys. Thanks for sticking around. Yes. I know this is, well, how long?
Who knows?
It's about an hour and a half.
I was going to say probably an hour and a half. But hopefully they love it, because we've been gone for a minute.
So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I know we've said it before in the beginning. We'll say it again. Our Patreon has all of the wedding stuff, all the premarital counseling stuff, our batch trips, our everything wedding related and more.
Yeah.
Is over there. So if you want to support the channel, if you want some extra content, if you want to see more of us,
it's more intricate into our lives too over there.
Very much so, more detailed.
Yeah.
Go give that a look. But other than that, that's all we got for you guys. If you don't already know, I'm Josh. She's EC. Together we are the Woos. That's my wife.
That's my husband.
And we're now working on year 2. So stay tuned for that one.
Loading.
Oh, and let us know what other videos, if you heard, if you want more specific details on,
anything you heard
function within this
throughout our year 1,
a story time or something like that.
Because we definitely have some wedding, marriage, other content brewing in mind that we got coming for y'all.
We're praying on it.
Turn on those post notifications. And that's all we got.
Yeah, that's all. We'll see you guys. Until next time, peace, love, head grease, and woos out. Oh, woos out. That's different.
Ain't that cute?
That's different.
Woos out. It's okay.
Yeah.